I'm talking to Queensland artist Brittany Elise, who released an album called Something More in 2019 and has a brand new single called Feel the Fire. And she's released several songs in between, all of them wonderful. Hello, Brittany Elise.
Hello. Thanks so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to talk to you. I've loved all of your songs and I'm very happy to be talking about the new one, Feel the Fire. And I will start talking about that song. Now, you co-wrote it with David Carter of Carter and Carter, and I'm wondering how that association came about.
Yeah, so David Carter and I actually go right back. So when I was about 14, I think it was, and I went to the Australian Academy of Country Music Excellence, the junior program. And David was actually one of the mentors there that year. Anyway, and we've just kept in touch. I've then obviously been to the senior academy many years later. And again, we've just kept in touch, and I've been to one of his Carter and Carter songwriters retreats that him and Marilyn run, which are brilliant. And yeah, now I've written probably my last 3 or 4 songs actually that I've released as singles have all been written with David Carter. So we just, sometimes it's when you find someone who you can really interrelate with. He brings out the best in me, and yeah, we have so much fun when we write together.
So some people have been to both the junior academy and the senior academy, but not a lot of people. It's a pretty good duo to have. So what did you find when you were at the senior academy that was so different from the junior academy? Were you looking for different things by that stage of your life?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the junior academy kickstarted it for me, kind of put me in, what is this world that is country music on a professional level. Mm-hmm. But by the time I went to the seniors, I was early 20s, and I was definitely prepped to make this not just a hobby, which a lot of people might do for music, but a profession. And so there it was all about building what I had already built as such, but the networking and knowing that I was very close to going, no, I want to do this professionally full time. And yeah, just utilizing the networking and the opportunities as well as the performances and contacts. So yeah, such a great experience.
I always find it wild that people can have themselves together enough in teenage years to go to the junior academy. I think it's amazing. And then to go again, I completely applaud you. And I think the answer as to why you may have started so young perhaps is in the new song, Feel the Fire, which is about having passion, whether it's for music or something else. And I'm in feeling your own fire for music. I'm wondering if this path has always felt irresistible to you as a musician.
Yeah, and look, I did the traditional thing. Everyone's like, oh, it's not a full-time career, and maybe you should get a real job. That's my favorite one. And so I actually went to university and got my teaching degree because I loved teaching and education and young people anyway. But yeah, that's really supported my music career. But I've always felt the fire. Like I've always known deep down music, like I couldn't just push it aside. And exactly right. That's exactly what I wrote it about. For me is feeling the fire for music, but I find really good songs are relatable to anyone. Mm-hmm. So I want to be able to put their own spin on it. Maybe they want to change their own profession or go back to school or TAFE or get an apprenticeship or change midlife or, whatever it is. When you feel it that deep within you, like it's important to then follow that.
It's interesting, that statement about getting a real job, because people love to go and see musicians perform and other performing arts, and they appreciate that and think they're great. And then it's somehow this, at the same time, this belief that it's not a real job, when actually I think one of the things you do as a performing artist is contribute so much joy and fulfillment to people who are listening to your music. I mean, what more real of a job could there be?
Yeah, exactly right. And I think people often say, how do you know when you've made it? But I think at the end of the day, exactly what you said is the most important, how your songs connect with someone. And for me, getting songs out there that people enjoy and love, that is success. So yeah, different levels for different people. But when it's within you, and creativity is one of those things that you just can't shake, no matter what form of the arts you're in.
I suppose you would have found, though, in your time as a musician, that there are people who are feeling the fire but backing away from it, and perhaps because they're scared of what it means to their lives and how much they might have to change or commit to it. And I imagine it's interesting to observe when you're in the position of being someone who has pursued their passion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wrote that pretty much in the lyrics as well. You know, it's scary. It's change is, you're always going to make mistakes, or you go back to being fresh and you don't know what you're doing and you got to build from the ground up again. And that's literally what I wrote in the lyrics about, you know, we're going to make some mistakes, but if you feel it, just go for it. We only get this life once. So I think it's important. And I think that's why I've kept teaching as well. That's something that I can try and teach young people to do as well, whilst pursuing at the same time.
Well, and also then you're very much walking the talk, aren't you? You're not just telling them to go out and do it. You're showing them how to do it.
Yeah. And I had people, I guess, in my world as well do that for me back when, and encourage me and say, you know, it's hard work, which anything is. Anything to be successful at is hard work. But if you really want to do it, you can.
Now, this track, Feel the Fire, was produced by Adrian Hannon, and I'm wondering how you came to choose him.
That's probably another funny story, actually. I actually, in COVID lockdown, took on a TV and film course whilst taking on a production course to build my own little studio in central Queensland, so I could always continue like my music and producing music, and at least get the vocals to my producers, knowing we couldn't, you know, leave our house at the time. And funnily enough, there was about 3 Aussies in this American course, and Adrian Hannon's wife was one of them. And we just hit it off. And then she introduced me to Adrian, who was also part of the course as well, but was still busy doing production at the time. And yeah, it all just kept going from there. And then obviously when lockdown lifted, same thing as writing the last few songs with David. I've actually produced the last couple of songs with Adrian as well. So we've got a bit of a tight team at the moment. But yeah, incredible people, both professionally and just, they bring the best out of me. So that's what you need.
So you really used your lockdown time well, then, not just in terms of making that connection, but studying. Did you enjoy studying production?
Oh, I love it. I think that's one thing I just love to learn. So whatever that looks like, you know, it can be different each time, but to actually know and be able to now go, that just took my career to another level, going into the production team and saying, hey, so I'm thinking like either these drums, these sounds, and actually knowing all the terminology. And I can actually do demos now with all of that kind of at least a guide in there, and producers love it because they're not trying to guess what an artist feels or hears inside their own head. But yeah, it's definitely progressed my songs as well, because I've discovered new sounds.
Yeah, right. Do you think you'd reach a point where you wish to produce yourself, or do you think there's benefit in having someone outside of you making those sorts of decisions, like someone who's more objective about what you're doing?
I think both. I love like bouncing off creative ideas, and you know, as a producer, like a really good producer critiques a song before they produce it as well, or tells you their opinion of the song. And they might just make small tweaks or whatnot, just to take it to another level. But long term, I'd like to be able to produce my own things, which will be an aim of 2023 and 2024. But that would be to consistently produce more music regularly. But I will always have like a second producer in there anyway, whether it was to critique my producing or having extra bonus singles along the way.
Yeah, right. Now, as you mentioned, you went to the Junior Academy, but you don't arrive at that point just from a standing start. You obviously have to begin quite a few years earlier. So at what age did your musical life begin?
Yeah, so I started in local talent quest at about 7 years old now. I was actually asleep under the table as my older sister was performing, and I was quite young. And one of the organisers said, why don't you just put Brit in the Pee-wee juvenile section? That year I got the encouragement award, and I guess they say the rest is history. I'm not sure. I think it was a Slim Dusty song actually, by going back then. And then yeah, I picked up the guitar at about 9, piano, violin over the years as well. And then from there I've worked with some incredible supportive Australian artists as well, who have supported my career and my music. And then yeah, from there, my adult years, I started releasing my own music and writing that, and went to Nashville And then this year in itself has been incredible with Toyota Star Maker.
Yes, and which I will get to. But before we talk about Star Maker, because you play guitar and piano, both of which are instruments on which you can write songs. So I'm wondering if you have a preference for which instrument you use for songwriting.
It's actually funny. I use the guitar more, but piano is just a totally different vibe. So I was trying to write this particular song for probably 4 or 5 years. Was trying on guitar, trying to get the right sounds. And literally the minute I switched to playing the same chords on piano, the song just rushed out.
Wow.
So it matched the mood as well. And yeah, now that song is recorded with piano. So it's not well, but yeah, I think they've both absolutely got their pluses and bonuses. But I've spent more time with the guitar, so I probably know that better.
And when did you write your first song?
Oh, first song recorded or first song written?
Just first song ever, like your first attempt at songwriting.
Yeah. Actually about 9 or 10. So yeah, I had a lot of uncompleted songs, but I remember actually that was why I also went to the Junior Academy, because they encouraged that, and they were like, everyone's got unwritten songs, but you just got to keep writing, because it might be the 100th song that's worth listening to on a record. And I just remember I've always stuck with that. So I love writing now regularly, but 3/4 of them may never ever be heard. They got you to that next song. So yeah, we'll tell their stories.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that no creative effort is wasted, because it does eventually get you somewhere. Now, I think your songs, at least some of them, are great at acknowledging the ups and downs of daily life while providing inspiration to pick yourself up or pursue a dream, as we've talked about. Is that conscious or something that's evolved in your songwriting?
A little bit of both, but I think that's the whole vibe that I've been trying to go for this album. So it's kind of where I'm at in my own career and in my own life. And, sometimes I've had to make some really big sacrifices in my general life to pursue such a professional music career. And yeah, I just also believe that so many people have helped me get here. So if I can give back a little bit through songs, especially talking about dreams and following your passion or the fire within your belly, whatever it is, yeah, definitely a theme that I've followed through multiple songs.
And I remember from your album that you had quite a different way of looking at stories as well, like coming at things from a different perspective. And I'd be listening to a song and thinking, that's not at all where I expected it to go. So I'm wondering if you trust your instincts when it comes to storytelling and song, because it would be really tempting to listen to other people's songs and think, oh, I should do it like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I also love to have something new and creative in every single song I write. So that's something I challenge myself with. Every song has to be different. And, you're always taking inspiration from other people, though.
Yeah. Now, that development in your songwriting and your performance is something that would have got you into the Star Maker Grand Final, as you were this year, because you have to be at a certain point in your career to get to that Star Maker Final 10. I was in the audience. In fact, I was in the press pit for that Star Maker Grand Final, and it was a big deal. Like, I was feeling nervous for everyone I saw perform. There were cameras on stage. There was so much going on. The crowd was really big. It was a big feature of Tamworth Country Music Festival. I'm wondering how it was for you.
Yeah, it was just electric. That's one word I've been saying about the whole experience, because it's just been incredible. It, from start to finish, the contacts that we've had, or built, and then the actual performance itself was it's so unique. There's nothing like it. But yeah, it was just from start to finish, all the contacts that we made was just incredible.
When I was watching you all, I thought, this looks like you've had some great rehearsal, because of the timing of everything. It was so tight. There were people coming on, people coming off. There was emceeing going on and working with the band as well. So were you in Tamworth ahead of the festival starting to rehearse all of that?
No, we only had, I think it was 15 minutes the day of.
Oh,
The band is just that world class that they learnt our tracks. We sent in how we wanted them to sound. A lot of songs probably were professionally recorded, or at least demoed, so they could have a basic idea for that. But no, that was just we were just following instruction and going with the flow. And I actually think it helped that all 10 artists, we just wanted to get out on that stage and do what we love. So I think, there was no issue trying to get us on the stage. Probably trying to get us off the stage more than anything.
Yeah, you certainly all look like you were having fun. And I imagine it was a big adrenaline rush because it was a different sort of show to anything you would have done before.
Absolutely. We actually talked about that pre-show, that just the top 10. And we said at the end of the day, because we're all such good friends on and off the stage, like we're still regularly talking now, and because there's room for everyone. That's really important as well. And but yeah, that was something we agreed on, was we just want to go out and put on a show that we love, and that other people will love. So yeah, we just wanted to have lots of fun.
It was terrific, and I hope that other people in the future who go to the festival go to that Star Maker Grand Final, because a lot of people might think, oh, well, these are emerging artists, but in a lot of cases you're not. You're actually quite established. It's just you're at a certain point in your career where Star Maker can be useful. But it was such a great evening's entertainment, and it was a reminder for me of why the Australian country music industry is so strong, because all 10 of you were fantastic. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I've watched that Star Maker Grand Final for years. We like sitting in the audience watching, hoping one day I'd be in it. So there's so many incredible artists that we still haven't seen yet. I always think Star Maker's very impressive, the talent that always gets up there. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, maybe you should all tour together or something. I don't know. Organising that could be problematic. But to talk about something quite different, still music related, but you work with a women's shelter near you, and in support of that shelter, you organised a concert called Raise Your Voice, which was to empower female singer-songwriters and supporters. When did you start working with that shelter?
Yeah, so I actually just came up with, it all progressed from, I wanted to have a show that supported singer-songwriters. And so from there, I kind of invited local singer-songwriters. I said, hey, do you want to come up and do a song? It's kind of one little like loophole. You perform one of your own. And a few people at the start were like, are you sure? And I was like, yes, that's what I want. And I said, eventually we progressed, like you can perform your favorite cover as well. So, but the dominant, if you were to perform one, was going to be your own. And I said, I promise it's going to be a supportive environment for you. Anyway, from there, I put the show out to the community, and everyone just loved the concept. And then they came, and I was like, okay, how can we build this even further? And so we built it to be a fundraiser as well. So local communities donated all their prizes and whatever talent they had. We have a lot of artistic talent in that region as well. And then, so all the proceeds started going to the women's shelter, because I think music for me, well, for all of us, is such a international, powerful language. So where we can work together to keep supporting each other, we have to do it. We have to keep doing it. And it's probably one of my all-time favorite shows I've ever been in. So, and now we have sold out shows. It's, and I have new songwriters every time we have a new show. So that's more people, they say, maybe not this show, but I'll be ready for the next one. And they'll go away or whatever for that next show, which is great.
So how often do you have these, and where are they held? So can people find them on your website?
So we're having them in Gladstone at the moment, Gladstone, that central Queensland area. But we're actually looking right now at touring it. So stay tuned on that one. We'll hopefully have some further details on that. But at the moment, we're doing it. The first year was annually, and then twice a year biannually. And then, so we're in our second year of it. So yeah, super exciting.
So you've added event management to your portfolio of skills now.
I didn't need anything more. No, it's so, like, when you are doing something you love, it is not work, even though it is.
Well, and you could be organising your own tour, because you do have an extensive tour coming up, including some festivals, and one of those is the Gympie Muster. Have you played Gympie before?
Right back when I was very young, in the talent quest there. So it'll be so lovely to go back, especially after the last couple of years we've had. It's also just like a big family reunion with fans and supporters and artists alike. Sometimes that's those massive festivals like Tamworth. We get to catch up with everyone.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you have to get yourself into a different mindset when you're playing a festival show, because of course people can be a bit rowdy depending on which time of day you're on. There's a lot of them. It's visually quite different. Do you have a different gearing up process, or do you just think a show is a show and I'm going out to do my best?
No, I think a show is a show. I try and put on for every show that I do, whether it's one song or it's 3-4 hours, whatever it is. But it'll be very similar to Star Maker. It's an instant electric crowd who are there for a great show, and I love that, because one of my favorite things other than songwriting is performing. So yeah, that's what we do it for, is to hang out with our supporters and our fans and meet new ones too. So yeah, really looking forward to that one.
Well, you were brilliant on the Star Maker stage. I'm sure you will be at Gympie and all the gigs you have coming up. And Brittany Elise, it was lovely to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me and your support.
Pleasure.